Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm here with another look. Yes, I know I said colorful looks. I love colorful looks, which I do. But then I was on Instagram yesterday and, well, I'm on Instagram every day. But I started seeing fall looks and I started to get inspired by those looks. I wasn't ready to go full fall makeup looks. So this is my warm-up to fall makeup looks. I feel like a fall makeup look is made with a dark lip or brown something lips and a smoky eye. I was gonna go with a smoky roundish look, but somehow I just ended up with a cat eye look, which I love. Honestly, I love how it came out. I feel like it goes with what I'm wearing right now. I mean, it's and the high ponytail, so I like it. I really hope you guys like it as well, and I assume since you like it, that's why you're here. So if you want to see how I created this look, and just come and hang out with me. But before we continue with this video, don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you have not already. Click on the notification bell so it lets you know every single time I post. And without any further ado, let's just get started. Okay guys, so as you can see, I already started with the eyes. To me, it's so much more satisfying when you see a simple and smooth process. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to organize myself a little bit better and organize my time as well. But for now, we're gonna start doing this. Okay, so let's get started. Again, I have not found my P. Louise eyeshadow base. I'm pretty sure I've seen it somewhere. I can never find it exactly when I need it. So again, we're gonna use concealer. I wouldn't recommend using concealer for the eyeshadow, especially if you have oily eyelids. Do invest in a primer if you do have oily eyelids. It's gonna make a world of a difference. The only reason for which I'm using the concealer is because I'm not going out after this. But if I was going out, I would either use this P. Louise eyeshadow base. This is a white one. I use this for like really colorful eyeshadow looks, but if I was going out, like I said, I would take my time to look for that eyeshadow primer. I don't think I have other ones. Oh wow, I just found the eyeshadow concealer. Okay, well, hopefully it doesn't make a huge difference, but I will be using the P. Louise eyeshadow base now. Let me go get it. Here it is. So now I guess on this I will be using the P. Louise eyeshadow base, and this will help us see the difference between the concealer and the primer. So we'll see how, hopefully it's not a huge difference, but for this I did use the concealer, so just so you know. So I'm applying the eyeshadow primer. Actually, let me get you guys closer. That's another thing I need to start doing and focusing on. Let me get you guys up close. Ooh, so much better, huh? Okay, and once I spread it all out, I do like tapping motions. Okay, for the eyeshadow palette, I will be using two palettes. So I'm using a Morphe palette. I'm using their Second Nature palette, 3502 palette. This palette over here. I'm not using the oranges yet. And the other palette that I'm using is the Revolution Forever Flawless Fire palette. This one right here. Night, right here, and Smoke. So I'm gonna start with this dark brown right here. Okay, I'm gonna get you guys a little bit closer because we're gonna be working on the eye. So I wanna make sure that you guys get to see. Okay, and because I am pulling the shadow way out, so that's why I'm pulling the eyeshadow primer all the way back here. It's already like, at this point, it's on my face. Now I'm going with that dark brown that I showed you, and then I'm gonna start kind of like sketching where the black eyeshadow is going to be. So we start on the outer corner, kind of like pulling it out at the same time and pulling it inwards really close to the lash line. And then once I'm getting close to the lash line and closer to the center of the eye, I start slightly blending it. So with darker shades, I do go little by little, adding more. Doesn't matter how many times I have to go back to the pan. but I do go a little bit lower, especially when I'm trying to do this kind of eye, sharp cat eye. And then on the outer corner, I just pull out very lightly, barely touching my skin. Kind of set the base right there for where the black eyeshadow is going to be. But before I go with the black, then I will go with another brown shade from that palette. Color will be this one over here, this warm brown. It is a very warm brown, but it's not as orange as it looks. So I'm getting an M507, and then I'm grabbing that brown and then slightly blending that dark brown that I had put on already. Okay, so I already kind of blended that out. So now the next shade I will be applying to blend that brown will be this shade right here. So it's just gonna be a little bit, just a tiny bit. So I'm grabbing that shade that I just showed you. I am going to go over it and then slightly blend it inwards, right where that crease hits. So just right there. Don't go down. I'm trying to make sure that the eyeshadow primer stick stays tacky right in this area. That's why I'm going with the eyeshadow on this area. Now I'm going with that yellow that I showed you from the palette that I showed you, Makeup Revolution Flawless palette. I'm going with this yellow right here. The brush that I used for the previous color was an M514, and it's the same brush that I'm using now with that yellow. Well, it's not the same brush, same style. Okay, and now I will be blending that out. I'm going over that light brown that I just used to blend everything out. Okay, now I feel like we set the base. Now I feel I can go more comfortably with the black and then start the process all over again. Just the new step is the black and very lightly blend with the other browns. I feel like we're not that close and personal, so let me get you a little bit closer. Maybe this? Hopefully you don't feel weird. For the black, I'm gonna use this black. I like this black, but it's not really black. The other black that I'm using is the Ulta Beauty eyeshadow. I like to buy single shadows like this for whenever I'm using other palettes where they don't have either white or bone tones, and then I don't have to look for another palette in which they have another black. Okay, so I'm getting that black from the palette. Now I'm getting it right on that corner, and then I'm kind of forming the shape that I have on the other eye, more like that winged out. So I'm tapping, and at the same time I'm forming that shape, and then I pull it in. So I pack on the color and then I pull it in at the same time. So when I'm starting to blend the eyeshadow, the black especially, I make sure there's no excess product on the brush before I start slightly blending it out. Slightly, like I said, slightly. I'm barely touching my skin. And it doesn't have to be perfect. I'm just making sure I don't go out of shape before I start blending it out. I take off the excess from the brush and start blending the tail. So I'm gonna go with that darkest brown that I chose earlier from the Morphe palette, and then I'm gonna start slightly blending. And always on the corner, I always try to pull it out, but I don't go too happy with this because the brown is already still like a dark color. So I just make sure the black is blend out, but I don't get too happy with it. Now I'm gonna go with the lightest brown, the warm brown, and then I'm gonna blend it closer to the focus, more closer to the socket with this brown. And then with this one, I am a little bit less careful. Wait, like when I blend it out upwards. Okay, I'm gonna go back with that black, and I'm gonna bring it up a little bit higher so it matches this eye a little bit more. Then I'm gonna go back with that dark brown again. Now that warm brown again. Okay, so I'm gonna go with that yellow from the Makeup Forever palette, and then I'm gonna try to warm up these browns. They were already warm, but I wanted them warmer, and even more since the eyeshadow primer was not as yellow as the concealer, so I'm trying to make it look as even as possible. So when I do shadows, I can't help it. I do go back and forth with all the shadows. Now I'm going with that brown, warm, very warm brown, and then I'm sharpening up that black, that previous brown. I pulled up that black. I didn't add any more black to the brush or anything. I just used the same brush that I used, and then I pulled up that black again, and now I'm going back and forth with the black and the dark brown until I get a really smooth blend. So now we're done with the dark brown and the blacks. Now we're gonna go ahead and move on to the center of the eye. So for this area, I'm gonna be using an e.l.f. eyeshadow brush. For the center part of the eye, we're gonna be using this shade right here. We're gonna apply it right on the center of the eye, as you can see right here, and then we're gonna go all over it. This is where we didn't apply any shadow, so the eyeshadow primer should be pretty sticky. You can't really tell that much of a difference. Now we're gonna use that shade Smoke from the Forever Flawless palette, this shade. And then I'm using the same brush. So when I pack on the color, meaning I just tap, 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 I don't swipe. So for the eyeliner that I will be using the liner, gel liner from Ingla. And I am using that gel liner with this brush from Michaels. It's an Artist Love Vienna sputter brush. It's a 5/0. So I will be lining the eye from the center. I'm going to start on the center. Then I start going little by little to the inner part of the eye. So then I'm gonna add a little bit more on the outer corner. Now before it dries, then I go just with the brush that I used for the black, no product added. I will blend that black with that black eyeshadow that I already had there, and then I try to slightly blend towards the center of the eye, not too much though. I do want the inner corners of the eyes from the liner to stay sharp. I'm just blending out the black on the liner that's already on the black portion of the shadow. Now that one's blended. Now I will go with the black from the Ulta Beauty eyeshadow, tap out the excess, blend that liner with that shadow again. Before I continue blending that black, I will go back with that gel liner, and then I'm gonna line my upper water lash line. Now we're gonna go back again with that dark brown, and then I'm gonna start to slightly, very slightly blend, especially on the outer corners. Be really careful not to go on the wrong direction, because even though they're light strokes, could easily, if you pull it up since it's black, could ruin the whole sharp look. Now I'm gonna go with that dark, now I'm gonna go with that warm brown, and then be a lot less careful blending that brown, that black. Okay, and right here I'm gonna start pulling it in a little bit, that warm brown. Now I go back with that yellow. And then with that yellow, I'm also tapping onto the shimmery color, and then tapping and blending at the same time. Okay, now I'm gonna curl my lashes, and then I will be applying a little bit of mascara as soon as I find it. Okay, and now as always, we're gonna go back to the face and then start working on the foundation. So before I apply primer, I want to do the whole applying powder to your whole face, just a little bit. So I'm going to be using an M527. I think this is a bronzing brush. I'm going to use it for this now. I'm going to use it again, but you can still use it, okay? So I'm just going to lightly tap around the areas where I have oily skin. Okay, now we're going to apply the primer, e.l.f. Putty Primer. I feel like the eyeshadow already looks good even though I don't have fake lashes on. I mean, I could totally wear this without fake lashes, which I don't mind, honestly. My props to those who wear fake lashes for a long day. So now for foundation, and before I apply foundation, I forgot to clean my sponge, so I'll be right back. Okay, so for foundation, I will be using the NARS Sheer Glow foundation. I always end up with my hand full of concealer and foundation, so it's so much easier to just add some of this here and then just start applying. Right here, I make sure I start marking the eyeshadow. Take care of my big forehead, especially now that we have a high ponytail, no hair to hide. For me under eye, I will be using the Conceal and Define Infinite from Revolution. This is the shade C8. So I'm just applying this to the inner corners. Okay, now I'm gonna apply a little bit over here on the outer corners. So I'm just applying this all around my mouth, hoping to cover that darkness around my mouth. Before I continue with the rest of my face, again, I do like to add concealer around this area, because if you pay attention, if you can see, there's darkness right here on my inner corner because I don't sleep. So now I just grabbed a smaller brush. This one is a Morphe E36. Quick rundown before I set with loose face powder. I will be making sure I don't have any creases on the under eye. And I'm not yellow, but I look yellow. I feel like I look yellow. So just tapping the loose face powder. Okay, without any extra product, I'm just gonna go very lightly on the rest of my face. Let's just finish the face so I don't keep taking you back and forth. For bronzer, I will be using a shade from the e.l.f. contouring palette. This one right here. Can you see that this is the one that I use most? Is the lightest shade. So first, I'm gonna start with this small brush. This is the M530. I'm gonna apply that right here. So I'm gonna start with tapping motions right up here, starting where like la patilla. I don't know how to call this in English. La patilla de tu hair. Right here where your hair starts, or the highest point of your ear. Then start running down close to the cheek. And then on the chin. And then I just go straight up. Okay, now we're done with the small brush. Now I'm gonna go with the bigger brush. I'm gonna get that same color that I grabbed earlier from the same palette again, and then start again with those tapping motions, but then I'm a little bit less careful with it. And with this one, I do go over my forehead, because this one, like this brush, is a little bit more smooth. And then I get close to the eyeshadow and pull it up. Now we're gonna do the nose. For the nose, I'm gonna use that same brush that I previously showed you. This one right here, it's like an angled fluffy brush right here. Sorry, it's dirty, I've been using it. And I just start going on the sides of my nose, and then I'm gonna focus really on the tip of the nose to make sure I really shape that tip of the nose. Now we're gonna move on to blush. Yeah, for blush, I think I'm just gonna use Unapologetic from the Morphe palette. This one right here. And to apply that, I will be using a Morphe E4. I love these brushes for blush. They're my favorite. Because look at, we just tap or tap and pull. We're good. And then a little bit on the nose. For highlights, we're gonna use a gold. Ooh! So for highlight, we're gonna use this Bisou highlight. I believe this is a Mexican makeup brand. Their colored eye pencils are really good. I only own one, but if you really want colorful, bright, and pigmented eye pencils, Bisou. It says it's a bronzer, but to me it looks like a highlight. So I'm just gonna apply this on the top of my cheeks, so that sheen that it gives, it's gold. So we're done with the face, I feel, and I'm really happy with it. Let me add a little bit of that highlight up here close to the brow. Okay, so we're back. I already finished this eye. We're gonna continue with this eye. First, we're gonna go with that with the Morphe M326, which is the brush that we were using for the black. And then we're gonna use the Ulta eyeshadow, the black one, matte black. And then we're just gonna add a tiny bit to the tip of the brush. Tap out the excess. And then we're gonna go really close to the lower lash line, right here, really close to the lash line, and practically on the lash line we just add that black and just apply that black. Once you apply that black, we're gonna leave it like that. Now we're gonna go with one of the other brushes that we were using to blend out those browns. We're gonna use that warm brown from the Morphe palette. We're gonna add a little bit of that brown, tap out the excess. I'm just gonna slightly blend it out, but I'm staying right there on the outer corner. Now what we're gonna do is I'm gonna go back to that Ingloss gel liner, and the tiny brush that I used to apply the eyeliner, I will apply a little bit of more of black gel liner, and then I'm gonna go again on the lash line, right on the lash line. And I go back with that brush that I used to apply the black shadow. No extra product, I just start blending that black liner. Now we have that black, we're gonna go back with that brown and we're gonna blend more a little bit towards the center of the eye. Well, I don't really blend down, I just try to blend it right there in on that spot. Closer to the inner corner, I'm just gonna add that yellow from the Makeup Revolution palette. I'm gonna apply it towards the inner corner of the lower lash line, and then I just pull it and again mix it with that brown and black. Okay, and then the inner corner, I did add a little bit of that shade Smoke from the Makeup Forever palette again, and I just apply that right on the inner corner. Alright, so I'm done. I'm not sure if I should add some mascara to the lower lashes. Let's just add a little bit, a tiny bit, because I don't want it to mess up. So for lashes, I will be using the Fox Mink from Ardell, the A14 style, and I'm wearing these because these already have that cat eye effect. I thought I had more pairs where they had that effect, but it turns out I don't. I think these are the only ones that I own right now with that style. Just apply the lashes. What do you guys think? I really like how it's not too voluminous, but it still keeps the eye like really sharp. I'm loving it. So now I'm gonna go ahead and move on with the lips. Ooh. Okay. Ooh. To line the lips, I will be using Chestnut Lip Liner from Wet n Wild. It's one of those long, like $1 lip liners. Now I'm gonna go with Fighter. Yeah, okay, so I think we're done with this whole look. Let me just set it up with some facial spray and then I'll be right back. Okay guys, so this is the final look. I really hope you guys enjoyed it, and let me know in the comments down below if you guys liked it, if you guys didn't. But for now, we're done with this look. I enjoyed making this look. I am slowly warming myself up to those fall makeup looks, and I feel like this was a great start. So again, if you guys have any suggestions, let me know in the comments. Follow me on Instagram if you haven't already. You can find me as Aredi Zavala, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I will see you on my next video. Bye.